Hello and welcome to Nullitaire Gaming, where we play games with 0 players, or in other words, we play bots against one another. And in this series we're playing Imperium, both Legends and Classics by Nigel Buckle and David Turtsey. And we're in the middle of a tournament. Actually, we're getting close to the end of the tournament now, where we've taken all the factions and put them up against each other in a single elimination style tournament. If you haven't seen any of the videos in the series, I recommend going back and starting at the beginning. I will put a link in the description of this video to the entire playlist, so you can go back and watch it from the beginning if you like. Okay, well, let's look at the tournament so far, where we are. Here it is. Okay, so we played the entirety of the first round, eliminated half of the factions. And we're halfway through the second round. The Egyptians and the Atlanteans have moved on. So we have 2 more games to play in this round, and then the championship round. So only 3 more games to go. In this game, it's going to be the Olmecs versus the Macedonians. Okay, so let's set up the game and get going. Okay, the game is now set up. As usual, I decided randomly who would be the first player, and in this case it turned out to be the Olmecs. So they are over here on the left, where the first player will be, and their deck is lined up with the top row here, which represents their hand. And the Macedonians will be second player. Their deck is lined up with the bottom row here, which will be their hand. Okay, and as usual, I have covered up the irrelevant tables so that I don't accidentally look at the wrong table. And I've put the Dynasty decks a bit back so I don't accidentally draw cards from the wrong deck. It's good to have these systems in place to keep yourself from making mistakes as much as possible. Okay, so the Olmecs have a rather small table to deal with here as barbarians. And the Macedonians over here, their table's not that complicated either. Okay, and their Dynasty deck is back over there. Alright, everything is set up, so the Olmecs will go first. Here we go. The Olmecs begin by rolling a 5, and their first card is Stone Mask, which has that mask icon. That's their first priority, is that mask. Okay, discard the top card from the bot deck. That's it. And we have another Stone Mask. So, same thing. Discard the top card from the bot deck. So far, the Olmecs have seen nothing but stone masks. Will they play another one? No. It's Lodestone Compass. A pinned card this time. Alright. So that will be here. If able, put a mask from discard pile into history. I think they can do that? Oh, yeah, definitely they can do that. Okay, good. To acquire any card. Otherwise, gain a progress and put this card in history. Okay, they're not going to do that. So they'll take one of those mask card from discard, put that into history, and acquire any card. To put into history, of course, just means it goes under their nation card here. And then they get to acquire any card in the market. Bots always go for the card with the highest value. Makes sense. And right now, the card with the highest value is this tributary card, the Greeks, because it has the asterisk here. Asterisks are always treated as worth 5 victory points. So that's the one worth the most. They will acquire it, which means they take the card and the unrest under it and put them both on top of their deck with the unrest on top. Who could have foreseen this? Stone Mask. Alright, so discard the top card from the bot deck. That is the last card to play for the Olmecs. So they take a progress, put it on the 5 card, that die, in the market. Then they will slide this card all the way down and refill their hand. But I don't think they have enough cards. No, they do. They have enough cards. Okay, so they'll just refill their hand. The Macedonians now come out swinging by rolling a 6, so they're going to play all of their cards, starting with Advance, which is a barbarian card. Okay, so it's not fame, not glory. Barbarian. Alright, if able, spend 3 population to break through for a tributary and put this card into history. Can't do that, they don't have any population right now. Otherwise, if able, spend 3 materials to acquire a civilized or uncivilized card and put this card into history. Can't do that either because they don't have any materials. Otherwise, break through for a region. So they'll do that last thing. When bots break through, they just take whatever's in the market as though they're acquiring it, unless the needed card isn't available. Then they'll go rooting through the decks. Okay, so since they're trying to break through for a region, and there is a region in the market, they will take that together with the progress and put it on top of their deck. Next card for the Macedonians is Philip II, another barbarian card. So we should have a repeat here. Yep, okay, they still don't have population, they still don't have materials, so they will break through for another region. Ah, there's a new region to replace the one that was just taken away. They will break through for that. And now they play an actual region, the Haliakman Valley. Okay, so region. Gain 1 material, play the region, exile a card from the market. When bots exile cards, they just take the first card starting on the left that doesn't have any tokens on it, and they exile it. So in this case, that will be Port. Next card is another region, Pelagonia. And so we should have a repeat here. Yes. Gain a material, play this region, exile a card from the market. This time they exile Gambling. Last card now for the Macedonians is Phalanx, which is a pinned card. And that should be here. Yeah, gain 1 population. Simple. That is the end of the turn for the Macedonians. Because they rolled a 6, they don't place any progress in the market. They simply refill their hand. Back to the Olmecs now. They roll a 3. What card will they play first? What will it be? Oh yeah, Stone Mask. Alright, so discard the top card of the deck. But we have a problem, which is that there are no cards in the bot deck. So that means no part of this action can actually be done, since all it does is discard that top card. Alright, well, according to the rules for the bots, if no part of the action can be resolved, find the next matching action instead. Okay, so in this case, they could not do this since the bot deck was empty. So they'll just go down and find the next matching action. So that means the next thing that matches this card. There's only one icon on this card, and that's the mask, so we're going to end up going all the way down to Other. It's not a region, it's not pinned, it's not cacao. So Other. Place the top card from the Dynasty deck into discard. Alright, so they're going to do that. Take the top card from Dynasty, put it into discard. Next card is a Tributary, the Greeks, which is also pinned and an Empire card. So they're going to get to pinned first. If able, put a mask from discard into history and acquire any card. Yes, they can do that. So that's what they'll do. The 2 cards in the market that are tied for highest are the Assyrians and Cataphract, which are both worth 3. The Assyrians have 3 printed on it, and Cataphract has 2 printed on it, but they have a progress, so it has a progress token, so that's an additional point, so that's worth 3. Okay, so the first tiebreaker is whichever card has the most tokens on it. So that's obviously Cataphract. They will acquire that. Next card for the Olmecs is a region, La Venta. So they will gain a progress, play the region, and exile a card from the market. They will exile the Assyrians. Last card for the Olmecs is another region, Laguna de los Cerros. So we should see a repeat here. Yep, gain a progress, play the region, exile a card. They will exile Urban Development. That's the end of the turn for the Olmecs, so they will place progress on the 3 card. Slide that down, and they'll refill their hand. They don't have enough cards now, they only have 2. So that means they'll take another card from the Dynasty deck, place it into discard, and shuffle. The Macedonians now roll a 2, and they start with Highlands. a region card. So they will gain a material, play the region, and exile a card. So they exile civil service. Next card is Conquer, which is a barbarian card. Okay, right here. If able, spend 3 population. No, they don't have that much. Otherwise, if able, spend 3 materials. Yes, they do have that many. To acquire a civilized or uncivilized card and put this card into history. Okay, they spent their 3 materials, so now they're going to acquire a civilized or uncivilized card. All of these 4 have one or the other of those icons. The one worth the most is education, so they will acquire that. The next card is Conquer again. Just like the Macedonians, huh? Alright, so it'll be the same instruction. It's not going to work out the same way, though, because they don't have enough materials anymore. So they don't have 3 population, they don't have 3 materials, so they're just going to break through for a region. The only region available is rainforest, so they'll take that. Last card for the Macedonians is a region, Orestes. So they will gain a material, play the region, and exile a card. They will exile city. So that's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They'll place progress on the 2 card in the market, slide that card down, and refill their hand. Back to the Olmecs, they roll a 5 and start with Ball Games, which is a pinned card. So, if able, put a mask from discard pile into history. Can't do that this time because they just shuffled, so they don't have a discard pile right now. Otherwise, gain 1 progress and put this card into history. So they'll do that. Next card is Unrest. That will simply go to the Unrest pile. Next card is Cataphract. It is an attack and Empire card and Civilized. Okay. Well, they don't care about any of that, apparently. Okay, so other. Place the top card from the Dynasty deck into discard. Okay, so top card from the Dynasty deck into the discard pile. Next card is a Tributary, Greeks. It's also pinned and Empire. So pinned will be first. If able, put a mask from the discard pile into history to acquire any card. Still no masks in the discard pile. So they'll gain a progress and put this card into history. Okay, that's the end of the turn for the Olmecs. They will place progress on the 5 card in the market and refill their hand. The Macedonians roll a 6 again, so they will play all their cards. Starting with a region, Grassland. So they'll gain some materials, play the region, and exile a card. They will exile Cannot. Next card is another region, the Rainforest. So we should have a repeat here. Gain material, play the region, exile a card. They will exile Moneylenders. Next card is Unrest. Just goes back to the Unrest pile. Then Education, which is a Civilized and Empire card. Okay, looks like they don't care about any of that. So we're going to get to Other. Yes. Okay. Gain 1 progress per bot region in play. Well, they have 6 regions in play, so they're going to get 6 progress here. Okay. Discard the top card from the bot deck and put this card into history. Last card for the Macedonians is Unrest. Alright, they don't place any progress in the market because they rolled a 6. They will simply refill their hand. I do not think they have enough cards. No, they only have 1 card left, so another card from the Dynasty deck, and they will shuffle. The Olmecs start by rolling a 4, and their first card is some Unrest. And then Calendar. Okay, which is a pinned card. Right, so that means if able, put a mask from discard into history. They still don't have any masks in their discard pile, so they will gain a progress and put the calendar into history. Here's another stone mask, so they'll simply discard the top card of the bot deck. And they do have cards this time. So, there we go. And they'll end on another stone mask. Again, discard the top card from the bot deck. Okay. So that's the end of the turn for the Olmecs. They'll place progress on the 4 card in the market. Slide this card down and refill their hand. They only have 1 card in their deck, however. So, another card from the Dynasty deck into discard, and they'll shuffle. Well, the Macedonians roll another 6. So they've been quite lucky in this game. This is the 3rd 6 they've rolled so far. Okay, so they start with Unrest. And next card will be Advance, a Barbarian card for them. Okay, so that's here. If able, spend 3 population to break through for a tributary. Put this card in history. They still don't have that much population. They only have 1. Otherwise, if able, spend 3 materials. Yes, they do have 3. To acquire a civilized or uncivilized card and put this card into history. Okay, so they'll do that. Okay, so 4 cards to choose from that have the civilized or uncivilized icon. The one worth the most is Temple. It's got that asterisk on it. Asterisks are always worth 5, so they will acquire that. Next card for the Macedonians is Glory. And that is a named card here on their chart. If able, abandon 3 regions. Yes, they have 6 in play. To gain the top fame card, otherwise break through for a region. Okay, they're going to abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. That means they'll take the last 3 regions played and discard them. Okay, so those 3 will be discarded, and they will gain the top fame card, which means it goes right on top of their deck. Here's Philip II again, a barbarian card. Okay, so they still can't spend 3 population. They still only have 1. They can't spend 3 materials this time because they have none now. So they're going to break through for a region. The only region available is Peninsula. I'll take it. Last card for the Macedonians is Conquer, another barbarian card. So once again, they don't have enough population or materials, so they're going to break through for a region. Now the only region to play is Archipelago, so they'll take that. That's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They don't place progress because they rolled a 6. They will simply refill their hand. The Olmecs turn again. They roll a 1 and start with Lodestone Compass, which is pinned. So, if able, put a mask from discard pile into history. They don't have a discard pile right now, they just shuffled. So they'll gain a progress and put this card into history. Next card is Cacao, which is named on their table. Okay. If able, return an Unrest from discard. They don't have any cards in discard, so that won't do anything. Gain a progress, and you may return an Unrest. So that refers to the other bot. Well, these bots are designed for solitaire play, so you refers to the solitaire player. We're playing Nullitaire, so we'll reinterpret that to mean the other bot. So they may return an Unrest. Okay. According to the rules for the bots, bots ignore any effects that would allow them to return Unrest cards. Okay, so that part of the Olmecs instructions will be ignored. Here's another stone mask, which means they'll simply discard the top card of the bot deck. Last card for the Olmecs is another stone mask, so same thing, discard the top card. Okay. Okay, so that means that that's the end of the Olmecs' turn. They'll place progress on the 1 card in the market, and they'll refill their hand. They don't have enough cards to do that, have only 2 left in their deck. So, another card from the Dynasty deck, and they'll shuffle again. Back to the Macedonians now. They also roll a 1. And they start with a region, Peninsula. Okay, so gain a material, play the region, and exile a card. There are tokens on these first couple of cards, so the first card without tokens from the left is Metropolis, so they will exile that. Here's a fame card, Proud, so they will just put it into history. Next card is Unrest. This goes to the Unrest pile. And the last card is Temple, Pinned, and Empire. I believe it will be pinned, yeah. Gain some population. That's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They'll place another progress token on the number 1 card and refill their hand. They only have 2 cards left in their deck, however. So, another Dynasty card, and they'll shuffle. Back to the Olmecs now. This time they roll a 6, so they will play all their cards this time. Starting with Olmec Hieroglyphics, which is a pinned card. So, if able, put a mask from discard into history. They don't have a discard pile right now, they just reshuffled. So they will gain a progress and put this card into history. Next card for the Olmecs is another stone mask, which means they will discard the top card of their deck. And here we go again. Another stone mask, so discard the top card of the deck again. And the next card is Cacao. Okay, so if able, return Unrest from discard. I don't think they have any in the discard pile, but I'll check. But they will gain a progress, and that last bit gets ignored once again. And the last card for the Olmecs is another stone mask. So once again, discard the top card from the bot deck. Okay, into the turn for the Olmecs. They don't place any progress in the market because they rolled a 6. They simply refill their hand. They only have 1 card left in their deck, however, so they go to the Dynasty deck. And here's that full moon card. It's San Lorenzo Tenochtitlan. So when that goes into the discard pile, they become an empire. So the Olmecs are now an empire, and they have graduated to their empire table. But we're on the Macedonian turn now. They roll a 4 and start with a region archipelago. So that means they're going to gain a material, play the region, and exile a card. This time they will exile urban development. The next card is Phalanx, which is a pinned card. So they simply gain population. The next card is Unrest. And then the last card will be Prosperity, which is named down here. Discard the top card from the bot deck. Gain 1 material and 1 population per bot region in play. The Macedonians have 5 regions in play, so they'll get 5 of each. You may draw a card. So again, you refers to the other bot, and when a bot is told that they may draw a card, that means they just discard the top card from their deck. Okay, that's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They place progress on the 4 card in the market, and then they will refill their hand. I guess the Olmecs are trying to catch up on all the 6s that the Macedonians rolled earlier, because they roll another 6. Okay, and they begin with Stone Mask. So they'll just, oh wait, no. Wait, hold the phone. I forgot, new table. Things are different now. Okay. So, let's see, have to go down the line. It's not fame, it's not ritual sacrifice, not region, not attack, not cacao, not uncivilized. Okay, here's the mask now. Gain a progress, discard the top card from the bot deck. Okay, and here's another one. So we'll do it again. Gain progress, discard the top card. And again. Alright. Gain progress, discard the top card. Hey, here's something different. It's San Lorenzo Tenochtitlan. Okay. So this is a pinned card. Also have this symbol. You should watch for that on the table. Yeah, I don't see it on here. Okay. So it's none of these. Okay, it's pinned. Gain 1 progress. If able, acquire an uncivilized card. Yeah, they can do that. If able, return a mask from discard pile to the top of the bot deck. Yes, they can do that. And put this card into history. Yes, they can do that too. There are 3 uncivilized cards in the market right now. Leadership over here is worth 3, 1 written on the card and 2 progress. Invasion is worth 2, and Elders is worth 3. So Elders and Leadership are tied. First tiebreaker is most tokens. They're tied again with 2 tokens each. The next tiebreaker is whichever card is furthest to the left in the lowest numbered spot. So they will acquire Leadership. Last card, surprise, surprise. Another Stone Mask. Okay, so more progress for the Olmecs, and discard the top card of the bot deck. So that's the end of the turn. They do not place progress because they rolled a 6. They simply refill their hand, but once again, they don't have enough cards, so another card from the Dynasty deck and shuffle. The Macedonians roll a 5 to start their turn, and they play a region, a rainforest. So that means they gain a material, play the region, and exile a card. They exile Diplomacy. Next card is Philip II again, Barbarian card. Okay, if able to spend 3 population. Yes, they can do that now. They finally have enough. To break through for a tributary and put this card into history. Okay, so they'll do that. Well, they're breaking through for a tributary, but there are no tributaries in the market. So that means they're going to have to go to the deck and draw until they find one. Okay, they found one. The Persians. So we'll take that. The next card is Conquer, which is another Barbarian card. And so they're going to do the same thing again. They do have 3 populations still. They just picked up a bunch from all of their regions. So they will do the same thing again. They'll spend 3 population, break through for a tributary, and put this card into history. Once again, there are no tributaries in the market, so they'll have to draw until they find one again. Okay, this time they get the Celts. The next card is Temple, which is pinned, and Empire. So pinned. Okay, they'll just gain a population. That's it for the Macedonians. They'll place progress on the 5 card. Slide that card down and refill their hand. Well, not quite. They didn't have enough cards to totally refill their hand, so the card from the Dynasty deck, I'll shuffle. Back to the Olmecs' turn now. They roll a 5. And what do you reckon? What do you think their first card's going to be? You want to take a guess? What do you think? What'd you say? Stone Mask? No, Sunrest. Gotcha. Okay. Next card is Leadership. Okay, it doesn't have any symbols on it except for the civilized and uncivilized. So let's take a look. Okay, we have uncivilized. Acquire any card and put this card into history. Well, looking at the market, looks like Mercenaries is going to be worth the most. That has that asterisk, so it's worth 5. There's a question mark on this one. Question marks are always worth the highest listed value. This says 2 VP if in history, so it's just worth 2. Whatever the highest number is listed there. Alright, so it's going to be Mercenaries. Next card is Cacao, which is still a named card here. If able, return an unrest from discard. No, they do not have a discard pile. Gain a progress, they can do that. And the other bot may return an unrest, we ignore that. So, just gain a progress. Ah, well here's the Stone Mask. Alright, Stone Mask, gain a progress, discard the top card of the deck. That's it for the Olmecs' turn. They'll place progress on the 5 card, slide that down, and refill their hand. The Macedonians now roll a 2, and they start with a region, grassland. So, region, they'll gain a material, play the region, and exile a card. They will exile town. Next card is a tributary, Persians. Let's see, I don't see tributary anywhere. So I think we're going to end up at other here. Yeah. Yeah. Gain 1 progress per bot region in play. They have 7 in play. Wow. 7 progress. Discard the top card from the bot deck, and this card will go into history. Next card is a region, Orestes. So gain some materials, play the region, exile the card. They will exile the woodland. Last card for the Macedonians is Phalanx. Pinned card. So they just gain some population. That's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They'll place progress on the 2 card in the market. Slide that down, refill their hand. Okay, so the Macedonians didn't quite have enough cards, so taking from the Dynasty deck we see it's Alexander. Okay, so the Macedonians now become an empire. Back to the Olmecs now. They roll 4 and start with Cataphract, which is an attack and empire card. So let's see, there's attack right there. Alright, discard the top card from the bot deck. If able, return an unrest from this card and force the Macedonians to take unrest. Next card is Mercenaries, an empire card, and civilized. We'll see what they want to do with that. Interestingly, Mercenaries doesn't have the attack symbol. I find that kind of strange. Okay, looks like we're going to go all the way to other here. Nothing else is relevant. Just gain a progress and put this card into history. Here's another Stone Mask. So gain a progress to discard the top card from the bot deck. And last card for the Olmecs, another Stone Mask. So again, gain progress, discard the top card. Okay, that's the end of the turn for the Olmecs. They'll place progress on the 4 card in the market. Slide this card down. And refill their hand, but their deck is empty. So they'll take another card from the Dynasty deck and shuffle. So the Macedonians are back to their old ways. They roll another 6. And they'll start with a tributary, the Celts, which is also an attack card. Now the Macedonians are now an empire, so we're looking at a different chart now. Okay, so let's see. It's not fame, it's not glory, it's not barbarian, not a region, not pinned, not an empire card. Okay, we got all the way to other here. Gain a progress per bot region in play. Well, they have 8 in play. Wow, that's big. That's huge for them. 8 progress. The Celts are going to go into history. The next card is Glory, which is a named card on their chart here. If able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Yes, they can do that. Otherwise, if able, acquire a region from exile. Otherwise, gain 1 progress. Okay, so they'll do the first thing. Abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Next card is Temple, which is pinned and empire. Pinned comes first. If able, return a region from discard pile into play. Yeah, they can do that. They just put a bunch of regions in their discard pile, into the discard pile. And Temple will go into history. Here we have a tributary, the Uxians, who also have the attack symbol. I don't think the Macedonians care about any of that. Yeah, we're going to get all the way to other again, which means a massive gain in progress again. Gain of progress per region in play. Well, they have 6 right now, so 6 progress. And this card will go into history. And we end with Alexander, which doesn't have any icons on it at all. So you know what that means. We're going to get all the way down to other again. And they're going to get a bunch of progress again. So it's another 6 progress, and Alexander goes into history. Alright, that's the end of the Macedonian turn. They rolled a 6, so they don't place any progress. They'll simply refill their hand. But once again, they didn't quite have enough cards to pull that off, so they'll take another card from the Dynasty deck and shuffle. The Olmecs turn again. They roll 5, and they'll start this time with Ritual Sacrifice. which I think is named here. Yeah, it is. Ritual Sacrifice. If able, put a mask from discard pile into history to gain the top fame card. Well, they don't have a discard right now, so yeah, they're missing out on that. Alright, so otherwise discard the top 2 cards from the bot deck. They'll do that. Next card is a region. Traces Apotes, I guess. So they will gain a progress, play the region, and exile the card. They will exile the Hittites. Next card is Stone Mask. We know what that means. Gain a progress, discard the top card. And again. Alright, so gain progress, discard the top card. That's the end of the Olmecs' turn. They place progress on the 5 card in the market. Slide this card down and they'll refill their hand, but they only have 1 card left in their deck. So back to the Dynasty deck, and they will shuffle again. Back to the Macedonians, they roll a 1. The first card is Unrest. And then Prosperity. Okay. Which again is has no icons on it, so it looks like we're going to get to Other again. They're going to collect a bunch of progress. Okay, that seems to be the Macedonians' favorite thing to do now. Alright, gain 1 progress per region in play. They have 6, so they pick up 6 more progress. And this card will go into history. Here's Phalanx, which is pinned. So we get this instruction. If able, return a region from the discard pile into play. I'll put this card into history. Well, there is no discard pile right now, so that won't do anything. But the put this card into history still does something, so they will simply do that. Last card for the Macedonians is Alexandria in Ariana, which again is pinned, and Empire, but pinned comes first. So if able, return a region from the discard pile into play. Again, they still can't do that, but this card can go into history, so they'll simply do that. That's the end of the turn for the Macedonians, so they'll place progress on the 1 card in the market, and they will refill their hand. And once again, they had just enough cards to get almost there, but not quite. So they take another Dynasty card, put it into their discard pile, which doesn't exist, shovel it, and then deal it out. The Olmecs now start by rolling a 3, and they play Cataphract first, which is attack and Empire. I think attack will be first. Yeah. Discard the top card from the bot deck. If able, return Unrest from the discard pile. And force the Macedonians to take some Unrest. Next card is Stone Mask. So gain progress, discard the top card. Next card is yet another Stone Mask. So again, gain progress, discard the top card. Last card, what a shock. Stone Mask again, and so gain progress, discard the top card. It's the end of the turn for the Olmecs, so they'll place progress on the 3 card, slide that card down, refill their hand. They only have 1 card in their deck, however, so another Dynasty card to discard, and they'll shuffle. Macedonians now roll a 4, and they start with a Fame card, Glorious. Okay. Put their deck right on top of the table. Okay, Fame. Gain progress per region in play. Okay, that's 6 again. And this card will go into history. Next card is a region, Orestes. As though the Macedonians needed more regions. Okay, they'll play it and exile a card. Well, here's a problem. Neither of these factions really have cared much about acquiring cards, so we just have this pileup of progress tokens all over the place. And so when a bot exiles a card, again, they take the card furthest to the left that has no tokens on it. Well, they all have tokens on them. And so looking at the rules for the bots here under exile, it says if all cards in the market have tokens on them, it does not exile a card. Okay, so they simply won't exile a card in this case. Next card is another region, so same thing again. They're going to play it and can't exile a card, so they'll just simply play it. Last card is Alexander the Great. Okay, which is an Empire card. So, if they will spend 2 materials to acquire any card, ooh, they're going to acquire? Otherwise, place the top card from the Dynasty deck into the discard and put this card into history. No, they can do that. They have 2 materials, so they'll spend 2 to acquire any card. Alright, they want to acquire a card from the market. Surprisingly, the card worth the most is this region card over here, which is worth 2 on its own and plus another 3 for those progress tokens. So they'll take that. It's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They'll place progress on the 4 card in the market. And slide this card down. Refill their hand. They probably do not have enough cards. No. So, take another Dynasty card and shuffle. Okay, so things look a little different all of a sudden. And that's because I had to put the game away and go do something. So I'm actually coming back to it days later now to finish this game. So I had to pack it all up and put it away, and I've brought it all back out and set it back up. But now notice I have the black felt out, and that's because there's a puzzle on the table. So I'm covering that up. Okay, so that's why everything suddenly looks different from your point of view. From my point of view, a week has gone by or so. Okay, anyway, we're back to the Olmecs' turn. Let's finish this game out. They roll a 5 to start their turn, and they play a Stone Mask to start with. Okay, so Stone Mask. Gain 1 progress, discard the top card of the bot deck. The next card is Cacao, which is a named card here. If able, return an unrest from discard. No, they don't have any unrest in their discard pile. Gain a progress, and you may return an unrest card. You meaning the Macedonians. As I said before, bots ignore any instruction telling them to return unrest. So nothing happens there. Okay. In other words, the Olmecs just gained progress. That's all that happened. Okay, another Stone Mask. So they're going to gain a progress and discard the top card of the deck. Last card for the Olmecs is Drainage System, which is pinned, but also Empire. So I think pinned. Yeah. I guess so. Okay, gain a progress. If able, acquire an uncivilized card. If able, return a mask from discard pile to the top of the bot deck. Put this card into history. I think they can do all of that. The uncivilized card worth the most is Elders, so they will acquire that. Okay, that's the end of the turn. For the Olmecs, they'll place progress on the 5 card, slide this down, and refill their hand. Macedonian turn now. They also roll a 5, and they begin with Glory. Okay, I think that's named here. Yep. If able, abandon 3 regions. They can definitely do that. They have 8 regions in play. To gain the top Fame card. Otherwise, if able, acquire a region from exile. Otherwise, gain 1 progress. Okay, so they're going to abandon 3 regions to gain a Fame card. So 3 regions have gone into their discard pile, and they will now acquire the top Fame card. Next is a region, Fortunate Isle, but it's also Barbarian, and looks like Barbarian comes up first. Interesting. Okay, so this card just goes into history. That's it. Next card is Unrest. So just go back to the pile, and then the last card is Alexander the Great. Okay, which is an Empire card. Okay, that says, if able, spend 2 materials to acquire any card. Yes, they can do that. Otherwise, place the top card from the Dynasty deck into this card pile and put this card in history. Okay, so they'll do the first thing. Spend 2 materials to acquire any card. The card worth the most in the market is the tributary Carthaginians, so they will acquire that. That is the end of the turn for the Macedonians. Place progress on the 5 card. Slide this down. Refill their hand. They didn't quite have enough cards for refilling their hand, so the cards from the Dynasty deck, and they'll shuffle. Back to the Olmecs now. They roll a 3. Let's start with Stone Mask. So, gain a progress and discard the top card of the deck. And here we go again. So same thing. Gain progress, discard the top card of the deck. And now for something different. Okay, Elders this time, which is an uncivilized card. Seems to be the only marking on it. Okay, acquire any card and put this card into history. The card worth the most in the market is Invasion, so they will acquire that. Last card for the Olmecs is Ritual Sacrifice, which is a special card for them. Here it is. If able, put a mask from the discard pile into history to gain the top Fame card. They can definitely do that. Otherwise, discard the top 2 cards. Okay, so they'll take a mask from the discard pile and put it into history and take the top Fame card. Okay, so they'll take the top card from the Fame deck and acquire it. That is the end of their turn. They'll place progress on the 3 card in the market. Slide that card down and refill their hand. The Macedonians now roll a 4. They start with Mosaics, which is pinned and an Empire card. So let's see what they want to do with that. Okay, here's pinned. Pinned comes before Empire. If able, return a region from discard pile into play. They don't have a discard pile right now, they just reshuffled. So they're not able to do that. Okay, so this card will simply go into history. Next card is Unrest. Simply goes back to the Unrest pile. And then Tributary, Carthaginians, which is also an attack card. Doesn't look like they care about any of that. Okay, so they're going to get to other here. Gain a progress per region in play. They have 5 regions in play. So they'll get 5 progress, and this card will go into history. Last card for the Macedonians is a region, Rainforest. And so they'll play it and exile a card. First card in the market with no tokens is Corruption. They will exile that. Okay, it's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They'll place progress on the 4 card in the market and refill their hand. Okay, back to the Olmecs' turn. They roll a 5. They play Unrest first. Next card is Imperium, which is a Fame card. Okay, so that's their first priority. Put this card into history. If able, put a mask from discard into history to acquire any card. Otherwise, if able, return Unrest from discard. Well, they should be able to put a stone mask into history to acquire any card, so they'll do that. The card in the market worth the most right now is the Etruscans, so they will take that. Next card is more Unrest. And final card will be Invasion, an attack card as well as Uncivilized. Attack comes first. Discard the top card from the bot deck. If able, return Unrest from discard pile. I don't think they can do that, but they can force the Macedonians to take Unrest. Oh, right. As soon as they discarded a card, it was Unrest because they just acquired something. So that will go back to the discard pile, but then they'll force the Macedonians to take Unrest. Okay, that's the end of the turn for the Olmecs. They place progress on the 5 card in the market. Slide that card down and refill their hand. They are out of cards now, so they'll take another Dynasty card and shuffle their deck. The Macedonians roll a 6. And they start, so they'll play all their cards. Starting with Magnificent, a Fame card. So that means they will gain a progress per region in play. They have 6, so they'll get 6 progress, and this card will go into history. Okay, the next card is a region, Orestes. So play the region and exile a card from the market. This time they exile Mysticism. Next card is Glory. So if able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Yes, they can do that. Otherwise. Okay. So they've abandoned 3 regions, and they will take the top fame card. Next card is Companion Cavalry, which is pinned and Empire. Pinned comes first. If able, return a region from the discard pile into play. And they can definitely do that because they just abandoned a bunch of regions. And this card will go into history. So the Archipelago will come back out of the discard pile and go into play. Last card is once again Alexander. Okay, which is an Empire card. If able, spend 2 materials. Yes, they can do that to acquire any card. Otherwise, okay, so they're just going to do that. The card worth the most right now is Watermill, which has that asterisk on it. That means it's worth 5, so they will acquire that. That's the end of their turn. They don't place progress because they rolled a 6. They will simply refill their hand. Back to the Olmecs now. They roll a 3 and start with Cataphracт, which is an attack card. Okay. Discard the top card from the bot deck. If able, return Unrest from the discard pile and force the Macedonians to take Unrest. Okay, they didn't have any Unrest in their Unrest pile, but they did force the Macedonians to take some Unrest. Okay, next card is Etruscans, a tributary card, also Barbarian. Okay. None of these things. Alright, looks like we get all the way to other. Gain a progress and put this card into history. Next card is a Stone Mask. So once again, gain a progress and discard the top card of the deck. Last card is Step Pyramids, both pinned and Empire. Okay. Pinned is here. Gain progress. If able, acquire an uncivilized card. Yes, they can do that. If able, return a mask from discard to the top of the bot deck. They can do that. And then this card goes into history. They can do that too. They will acquire City. Okay, that's the last card for the Olmecs. So they'll place progress on the 3 card in the market. Slide that card down, refill their hand. Macedonians now roll a 1 and play Watermill, which is a pinned card. Here. If able, return a region from discard pile into play. I think they can do that, yeah. And then put this card into history. So we see the Rainforest there in the discard pile. They'll put that into play. Next card is a Fame card, Triumphant. So they're going to gain a bunch of progress again. 1 progress per region. They have 6. And this card goes in history. Next card is Unrest. And then finally, we have Grassland, another region. So they'll play it and exile a card. They will exile Coinage. That's it for their turn. They'll place progress on the 1 card and refill their hand. I don't think they have enough cards. They only have 1. So, another Dynasty card. And they'll shuffle. The Olmecs also roll a 1. They start with Stone Mask. And so, we know what that means. Gain a progress, discard the top card. Next card is Unrest. And then City, which is a pinned card. It's both civilized and uncivilized. Okay, uncivilized comes before pinned. Okay, so that's what they'll do. Acquire any card and put this card into history. Well, 2 cards are tied for highest value, Phoenicians, which has a printed value of 3, and Lakes, which has 3 progress on it. So the first tiebreaker is the card with the most tokens on it, so they'll take Lakes. Next card, Stone Mask. So once again, that's get a progress token and discard the top card. It's the end of the turn for the Olmecs. They'll place progress on the 1 card and refill their hand. They don't have enough cards though. Only 2 cards in their deck, so they'll take Dynasty card, and it's their last one. So looking at the rules now, there are several ways that game end can be triggered. We've never seen this one before, so I want to point it out. So game end can be triggered by either a collapse, which we've seen, or by scoring, and there's 7 different ways that scoring can happen. So these are the bot rules. Okay, so the first one is there are no more cards in the bot's Dynasty deck. That's the one we just saw. So the Olmecs have run out of cards in their Dynasty deck, so that triggers game end. Before we've seen 2 come into play, there are no more cards in the main deck. We've seen that happen several times. We've never seen the King of Kings card get flipped. Number 3 only applies to Solitaire, and these are special for the Vikings, Arthurians, and Utopians. Okay, so anyway, there are no more cards in the Olmecs bot deck. That means game end is now triggered, and therefore we're going to finish out this round. The Macedonians will have a turn, and then we'll play one more round. The Olmecs will have a turn, and the Macedonians will have one more turn. And that'll be the end of the game. Alright, the Macedonians roll a 5, and they start with an Unrest card. And next they have, oh wow, another Unrest card. Okay. And then, more Unrest? No. It's Alexander the Great. Okay. And he has an Empire card. If able, spend 2 materials. No, actually, they've run out of materials, so they can't do that anymore. Otherwise, place the top card from the Dynasty deck into the discard pile and put this card into history. Alright, so they'll take the top card from the Dynasty deck, put it into the discard pile, and Alexander the Great is now going into history. Bye, Alexander. The next card is Development, which is also an Empire card. I think we're going to get a repeat here. Yep, still can't spend any materials, so they'll place the top card of the Dynasty deck in the discard pile, and this card will go into history. So they have now run out of Dynasty cards as well. Alright, it's the end of the Macedonians' turn. They'll place progress on the 5 card and refill their hand. So we have an interesting situation here, which is that the Macedonians, right, refilled their hand, and they didn't have enough cards. They're out of Dynasty cards, so they didn't add one to their discard. They just shuffled the discard pile and dealt that out, and they still don't have enough cards. They have only 4 cards in their deck now. So, looks like the 5 slot is just empty for them now. There's really nothing else they could possibly do, right? They only have 4 cards. I did go to Board Game Geek and see if I could find something like an official answer to this. There doesn't seem to be anything in the rule book. I looked there to see if this specific situation was covered, and it doesn't seem to be. I did find one answer. Someone said, yeah, this is the way to play it. But that was neither of the... that person was neither of the designers of this game, so I don't know if that's an official answer. But in any case, I mean, what else could we possibly do, you know? It seems like this is the only thing we could do, is just leave that blank. So, that's what we'll do. The 5 slot will just be blank now for the Macedonians. Okay, on to the last round of the game. The Olmecs have one more turn, the Macedonians have one more turn, and then that will be the end of the game. Okay, last shot for the Olmecs. They roll a 5, and they start with Invasion, which is uncivilized and an attack card. Attack is first. Discard the top card for the bot deck. If able, return Unrest from the discard pile, and then force the Macedonians to take Unrest. Interestingly, the Macedonians now do have another card in their deck. So they now do have 5 cards, but their hand was already dealt. Okay, next card is Cacao, which means they will return Unrest from the discard pile. They don't have any. gain a progress, and this doesn't do anything for the bots. So, just gain a progress. Next card is Olmec Traders, another attack card. It's also Empire, but I think attack will be first, yeah. Discard the top card of the bot deck. If able, return Unrest, and force the Macedonians to take Unrest. Macedonians are building their deck again. I mean, it's all Unrest, but, you know, they're getting there. Alright, last card for the Olmecs, and it is Ritual Sacrifice. Okay. That's going to get them a Fame card, I think. If able, put a mask from discard into history and gain a Fame card. Yeah, they can do that. So that's what they're going to do on their last card of the game. So they take the last Fame card and they put it on top of their deck. Alright, that's it for the Olmecs. They place Progress on the 5 card, and they will... Well, it doesn't really matter if they refill their hand, I guess. They don't have any more Dynasty cards, but I think they have enough cards to do it anyway. So, for the sake of completeness, we'll just put them out there. Okay. On to the last turn, the Macedonians. The Macedonians roll a 3, so they're not going to be able to play all of their last cards. But they'll start with a region, Orestes. Okay, this is not their chart. I have this all messed up. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. The right charts there. Alright, so a region. Play the region, exile the card. They will exile the Phoenicians. The Macedonians also want to go out on a high note. Here's glory. Okay, so if able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top Fame card. Okay, yeah, they can do that. Otherwise. Okay, so they'll abandon 3 regions. So the Fame deck is out, of course, so we're down to the King of Kings card. Now there's special rules for the bot here. So if the bot would gain the King of Kings card and is a barbarian state, it instead gains 6 progress. The Macedonians are not barbarians, they are an empire. So if the bot is an empire, it instead gains 3 progress and draws the top card from the Dynasty deck, placing it on top of the bot deck. And this triggers the end of the game. Well, we're already in endgame, so no big deal. So they're going to gain 3 progress, and they would get another Dynasty card, except their Dynasty deck is empty. So all that's going to happen is they get 3 progress. Alright, this is the last card of the game. It's Parmenion, which is an Empire card for the Macedonians. So if able, spend 2 materials. Nope, they don't have any materials. Otherwise, place the top card from the Dynasty deck into the discard pile. Well, they can't do that because they don't have a Dynasty deck, but they can put this card into history, so they'll simply do that. Okay, that is the end of the turn for the Macedonians. For the sake of completeness, they would end by placing Progress there and placing out more cards, shuffling their deck, filling their hand. Okay. But there are no more Dynasty cards, so that makes no difference. Well, there you have it, everyone. Let's tally it all up and see who wins. Alright, it's time to figure out who won. As usual, I'm not going to do that by adding up all the victory points. Instead, I'm just going to match them 1 for 1, and whoever has victory points left in the end will be the winner. So let's start with the progress tokens. I mean, this game was like it was like progress. It was like a progress race, basically. Both of these nations were trying desperately to out-progress each other to the point where hardly either side was acquiring any cards or doing much with the market in terms of like exiling cards or anything like that. They were mostly just, let's get progress. Okay, so anyway, we have a ton of tokens here on both sides. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 1 over there, so let's match that up here, and 20, 30, 40, 50, and 1 over here. Okay, so we get rid of all of that, and that leaves the Macedonians ahead there with 21. Now, population and materials count as 1 progress token, 1 progress per 10 combined, but the Macedonians only have 4, so that's not worth anything. So that's worth nothing. Okay, so right now the Macedonians are ahead with 21. Let's go look at the victory points on their cards. Okay, so I found 21 victory points worth of cards in the Olmecs deck. They had these two fame cards that came to 20 points, so these have the question marks on them. And with question marks, we always take the highest victory point value listed. So here, this one is worth 12 victory points, and this one is worth 8. So together that's 20, and here's another 1. Okay, so that counterbalances the 21 victory points there. Also, the Macedonians had 2 unrest cards in their deck. They're worth -2 points each, and it just so happens that Alexander the Great is worth exactly 4 points. So that counteracts Alexander the Great. We'll just remove those cards. Okay, now we'll set the cards up against each other one by one and see who has victory points remaining at the end of the thing. Here we go. Okay, it's time for the final tally. As always, I'll just go down the columns here. I've matched up victory points 1 for 1, and we'll see who has cards left in their column at the end. That faction will be the winner. So Olmecs on the left, Macedonians on the right. Here we go. So the Macedonians had several fame cards to account for. So this one's worth 12. There's a little question mark there. So we've balanced that. This one's worth 11. So the Olmecs had to balance that. This one's worth 6. So the Olmecs had to balance that. And this one is worth 5. The Olmecs had to balance that. Okay. And then for the remaining cards, the Olmecs quickly ran out. Okay. So the Macedonians won by 35 victory points. No surprise. They definitely seem to be doing better throughout the game. Okay, there you have it. Macedonians are victorious. So the Olmecs have been eliminated from our tournament, and the Macedonians move on. There's only one more game to play in the second round, the Chin versus the Celts. And so we'll play that game next time. I hope to see you then. Till then, bye.